Well, what a cracking start to the day with that, with the Carlton brass training. As we said, you can't get enough of Elvis Presley at 10 o'clock in the morning, can you, gents? And before we carry on from that, there was a great performance there, Kenny, from Sarah Harper playing Sugar Blues with a broken
bone in her foot as well. Yeah,
nice player.
Nice bit of style in there, yeah, as you say, get us started doing it on a Sunday morning with a wee bit of jazz, yeah. No, it was really well done, bit of style, great.
Great to see a band like that, which was a mixture of older players, Chris, and some real little
nippers
great, in there as well, wasn't there?
Great mix of old experienced hands with some youngsters, but it's great to see, isn't it, really?
Tell us now that you're back. You went to America nearly 20 years ago.
Almost 20 years ago, yeah.
And you've made a welcome return back to us here with the William Davis Band. Tell us a little bit about the William Davis Band. It's one of those bands that people may have possibly forgotten about, but it's great to see those players back with you yesterday enjoying themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's disappointing that with the passage of time, William Davis is probably a name that people don't recognise, but we were quite, active 30 years ago when we were doing concerts and contests. Never quite as successful as some of the big names in contests, but we really enjoyed a very satisfying reputation as a concert band, and you heard some of that last night. Mm-hmm. We deliberately, Chris pulled together the band and we talked about the program. It was a nostalgic program, and it's just 20 years since we did a tour of Switzerland. And so some of the repertoire that we played last night reflected what we did in Switzerland.
Talking about that then, Nick, you've just come back from Switzerland, of course, with Black Dye. Mm-hmm. So again, the brass band movement out there is really flourished, and a lot of that's to do with bands like that, with the pioneers who were going out all those years ago.
It was. I mean, I remember Keith with affection when I was a tutor on the Yorkshire Schools Band.
Oh yeah,
Yorkshire Schools Band, and Keith is the music director.
Yeah.
And but it is. I mean, in Switzerland now, we were in Lucerne in the KKL. It's a dream when you go over there because you get treated like being superstars, to be fair. Mm. And full halls. Interesting enough, I'm sure that coming to this contest today is good value. A ticket in Switzerland last week was 75 Swiss francs, which is about £65, and the concert was sold out 3 months before.
Yeah. We'd love to be able to harness that enthusiasm here, wouldn't we? I mean, we've got a very active brass band community here, but when you hear things like that in places like Switzerland, Norway, Holland, these countries, they're really going for that.
The previous week we were in Luxembourg, and of course Luxembourg only has one brass band. So everybody that was there were musicians with interest in brass, and again, capacity halls. As long as you can play music for yourselves, but as long as you're realising you have got to entertain too.
Chris, you were organising with the William Davis there. We saw you manfully playing away on the bass trombone there. Keith told us, of course, he remembers that unique sound, he called it, that you were doing. It must have been great times for you playing and seeing old friends coming back with that.
No, it was the G trombone you were on. No, I'd progressed beyond the G by that point. They were great times, and there was a period when we had a very, very good band together, wasn't there? And I mean, we had a great band of good players who were all established players, but there were no prima donnas in the band, and we just had a terrific group of players. It was. There was a real camaraderie of the band back then, which was great. And we got some pretty good contest results. I mean, we were talking about our area championship victories last night.
I've got to break into you there because the next band is coming on, so we come back to you gentlemen to carry on with that there. Newark Town Band is the next up with MD Rupert Trippett, who trombone player.
Yes, one of my old Desford colleagues.
They're going to be doing a great little programme as well, starting off with the William Rimmer March, Punchinello, one of the great marches in 6/8, followed by Gough Richards' Diane. Nice little link there back with you. Thank you very much for that one there. Cornet Solo Share My Yoke by Joy Webb, and that's going to be played by David Pearce. And when we're talking about great music on a Sunday morning, you can't beat a little bit of madness. And they're finishing off with Baggy Trousers. So with that, we'll go back over to the hall where we can enjoy Newark Town Band play their programme conducted by Rupert Trippett.